safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban, a multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veterans services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who's interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees, our 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
All right, it's 8:30, folks.
Does this happen every day, 8:30?
8:30 comes twice a day. Good morning and welcome. Finance Physical Resource Committee. It's April 19th, it's 8:30 in the morning, and we will begin with public comment. Anyone in the audience care to comment? State your name, address, date of birth, so we can send you a card. And you have 5 minutes? 5 minutes.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you. Let's see. Name, Peter D'Arienzo. I'm the CEO of the John Ball Zoo. Address, I live in Granville. Birthday, May 17th. Favorite color, green. Thanks for giving us some time to start off with some public comments. And we appreciate the support from the county and how far we've come with our millage proposal. And it's been a great season so far. When we opened the zoo for the season, we had a record attendance, over 5,000 people on opening day. This last weekend, we set some new records. We did almost 7,000 people on Saturday and 6,000 people on Sunday. So it's been quite a whirlwind. It's been great. And from the beginning, we want to be sensitive and to listen to the citizens of Kent County as we put together our millage proposal. And the focus groups and the polling has been overwhelmingly positive. And what we're also hearing is that the citizens would be more receptive to a 10-year millage versus a 15-year millage. Both are strong cases, but we just want to show that we're listening to the citizens. And so we'd like to propose a 10-year time span versus a 15-year time span. Both of these time spans, the 10-year time span allows us to accomplish the same goals, to create 2 financially sustainable organizations. They'll allow us to continue to drive attendance, work on deferred maintenance, maintain the park, build new exhibits, et cetera. So I'd like to turn it over to Dale if there's any comments. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Dale Robertson. I'm president of the Grand Rapids Public Museum. I'm happy to be here with my partner, Peter. The museum and the zoo are working together on this millage. I'd like to take just a second for a little bit of an aside here, if I may. I've lived here since 1999, so I'm not a long-time resident as many of you are, but I would submit that one of the uniquenesses of West Michigan and Kent County is the cooperative spirit and nature that really permeates the entire culture. And an example is how well we cooperate and work together with the John Ball Zoo. Peter mentioned they are setting attendance records. We are too, frankly, this last few weeks with our Robot Zoo exhibit, 25,000 over spring break. But the cool part is the John Ball Zoo brought over some animals during portions of those times to enhance that experience for our visitors, and that's a tangible example, I would argue, of just the cooperative nature here. Do we compete? Yeah, we compete against the couch. All right. I want you to go to the zoo. I want you to come to the museum. I want you to go to places downtown. And this millage for us together is a way that we work to ensure our long-term sustainability so that we know that we can continue to serve folks. In this digital age, people are craving a real experience, and we are those 2 premier publicly owned institutions that provide that experience for families in West Michigan. And so we are together on this millage. As Peter said, we've listened to you. We continue to listen to the public, and have come to believe through this ongoing process, making sure we're listening and we're learning, that moving the millage amount from 15 to 10 years would be in the best interest overall, and would ideally lead to a favorable outcome should we be afforded the opportunity to be on the ballot in November. So that is our request to you today on behalf of both, that you would consider that amendment.
Okay, thank you very much. You guys are going to hang around a little bit?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so if we have some questions when we get to that part of the agenda, we might have an opportunity to ask you those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment this morning? There's none. So we'll go to the consent agenda. Items A through D. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Oops.
Support?
I'll support. Everybody's supporting.
Questions? Anyone want to remove anything for further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Now we'll go to item 3. Darrell, please.
And I'll read as originally presented versus what we just heard this morning, and that's something that can be discussed during the course of this item. This is a request to recommend to the Board of Commissioners to authorize placement of a proposition on the November 8th, 2016 general election ballot for a dedicated millage for the John Ball Zoo and Grand Rapids Public Museum. John Ball Zoo, Inc. and the Grand Rapids Public Museum have submitted a joint request for consideration of a 0.44 mil property tax levy, the proceeds of which would be split equally between the 2 entities and used by each organization to fund operations and capital projects. The length of the proposed levy is as originally anticipated, 15 years. The zoo and museum are both publicly owned institutions, collectively serving more than 800,000 visitors each year. Millage funding, if approved, will provide financial support to allow both institutions to continue to serve Kent County residents through educational programs and to make necessary renovations to aging exhibits and to preserve key museum artifacts, establish new exhibits, upgrade technology, and increase public access. The proposed millage, if approved, would cost the owner of a home with a market value of $175,000 and a taxable value of $85,000, which is the median home value in Kent County, $37.40 a year. The request was reviewed by administrative staff to ensure compliance with the board's millage request policy and state statute. The request was also reviewed and recommended to be placed on the November 2016 general election ballot by the millage subcommittee, which consisted of Commissioner Dan Korndike, who chaired it, Emily Breivy, Carol Hennessy, Ted Vonk, and Harold Voorhees.
Thank you. Before we make a motion, I'd like to, if you will allow me, to change that 15 to 10 as a friendly amendment. If not, you want to talk about that, that's okay too. But is it okay to change it to 10 years? Then let's do that. Okay, now.
I would move the motion as amended.
I'll support.
Okay. It's not been amended because we just changed it before we.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
The motion was made with 10 years.
with 10 years, it's supported by 10 years.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, questions? Please.
So I'll just throw a brief comment in here with knowledge that my wife still has a few hours to file to run against me for this seat. But in just reviewing this, both of these organizations, I think very highly of. Coleman family is members of both and has been for a long time. And in the last couple of weeks, we've actually been to both of these institutions. They're really great community assets. When it comes to the tax increase question, the way that I personally assess whether or not we should raise taxes is, one, is there an urgent and unforeseen need? Or two, has something structurally changed about government that would merit a tax increase? My assessment in this case is neither of those things are true, so I won't be supporting the millage. However, I will continue to support both organizations.
Thank you. Anyone else? David? What?
Yeah, I guess the two parts here is that, first and foremost, as a county commissioner, our role is, we talk a lot here about our processes and our policies, and the change in the number from 50 to 10 years demonstrates what our policy and procedures are. It's basically a group of citizens coming forward to us asking for access to the ballot. And our job is to make sure they're doing their work, which they've done. And again, we're not changing it from 15 to 10 because we think it's 10. They asked us to do that because they continue to listen to the community. Both organizations have listened to the community for decades and have intensely listened to the community for the past few years, where they've brought to us this need. My bar is a little bit less than Commissioner Coleman's on getting to the taxpayers' questions about increasing revenue. And so, I mean, with purely my commissioner hat on, they've more than met our policies, procedures, and done way beyond due diligence to bring this to voters. My whatever hat, we used to be zoo members. I don't think we were ever museum members, but hung out at both institutions a lot when my kids were small. To me, the important thing is both of these organizations are publicly owned, as was noted. And I don't believe public is a four-letter word. And these are two assets that there has been huge structural changes in the last 20 years. I think that has been shown by both organizations in how the zoo with Commissioner Voorhees and Commissioner Hennessy helped turn the zoo from what it was to now an authority. The museum, its structure being, way too many years old, and yeah, just without getting in too far in the weeds, to simply say, both organizations aren't going to rest on their laurels. This is going to help them springboard into more fundraising, more community engagement, more sponsorship recruitment. So this sets both organizations up for a generation of growth where they've had a generation of getting beat up. I'll just leave it at that. So again, I commend both organizations for their beyond due diligence and excited about the prospects with that hat on. So I'll leave it at that. So thank you, Chair.
You have another hat you want to talk about?
I don't. So, but I would. No, never mind.
Anyone else? Dan, please.
Thank you, Chair Van I'll take the other side of Mr. Bukowski. Somewhere in this gets lost is the burden on taxpayers. And if you look at the rising cost of homes, it seems the people in the city of Grand Rapids in particular are one targeted millage after another. And that dream of buying a single family home and being able to make the mortgage payments and make the property taxes, we've got to have a conversation on what is it the role of the taxpayers and why is it the taxpayers are always being asked for targeted millages. When the county's got a set rate, the cities have got set rate, why doesn't government learn to live within those means first before going to the taxpayers time and time again? Because this isn't the last of this. We've got a whole string of these that are coming up, and I think it's starting to get unfair to the taxpayers to have to weigh one organization, one museum, one zoo against parks, streets, sidewalks, and everything else. And I just think it's gotten to a point where something's got to be done, and that's the conversation that we need in this community, is what the role of the taxpayers are.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Candace, please.
Thank you, Chair. I live in the city of Grand Rapids, and I can completely agree with Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Ponstein that my constituents are millage fatigued. We have the GRPS millage, we have the parks millage, we have the roads millage, etc. However, it is not my place to decide whether this needs to go on the ballot so that the taxpayers can decide whether they want to pay increased taxes. And it is not my place to say, oh, no, we can't put it on the ballot, because they have the choice and they have the right to get out and vote and say, yes, we support the museum, we support the zoo, and we have no problem paying more taxes, or no, we don't support them, and no, we're not going to pay more taxes. So I will support this measure, but I can completely agree with the millage fatigue that exists in my district.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roger, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. On page 4 of the, I guess the handout dated 3/23/16, I guess it's the overhead projector, or it's towards the back. Well, anyway, there's a slide that says benefits to Kent County residents, both the Public Museum and the John Ball Zoo, and it lists just a few things in there. Is that written in stone, or what are you, as a taxpayer, what are you going to give me for my tax money? I guess that's a direct question, and can anybody just respond to that, Dale, or? I get free group admissions for all, but what am I getting as a taxpayer if I vote for this 0.44 mils, I guess?
Great question. I didn't speak for the zoo. And to answer your first question, is it written in stone? Yes and no. No, in the sense that as we've done our polling and our focus groups, we're getting feedback on what people are looking for. And we want to, assuming this passes and we move forward, we want to make sure we're listening to the people. So the nuances are with the zoo, people are asking, we want to make sure that animals are well cared for. And the zoo industry has transitioned from just providing food and shelter to providing food, shelter, and psychological well-being. But what would you get as a voter would be expanded exhibits, upgraded exhibits, new exhibits. For example, our strategic master plan, part of that is an expansion of the stingray exhibit so that we can show stingrays throughout the zoo season because they're temperature sensitive. Another example is where we want to redesign the front entryway. So there's, as you walk into the zoo, animals, you can get closer to animals by having them go overhead and these immersive exhibits. Another example would be as far as how to reach the citizens of Kent County. Zoos are also transitioning to that. Zoos are more about what they do within their four walls. Other zoos are growing to actually reach out into the community. And that's what's fundamentally changed in the zoo world, which requires additional financial needs to do that. So how do we reach kids within the county? How do we bring them to the zoo, and how do we go to them? And I have some exciting ideas for that, which is engaging kids in conservation, biology. How can we play a role within the community on providing access to what we have that is unique? I can go into greater detail if it wants.
No, I do see that. Is there a senior discount program in place now? I think I'd qualify for that now.
There is. We do have a tiered pricing structure based on your age, children, seniors, and it's also based on the time of year. For example, peak season has a higher price. If you go to the zoo right now, it's the cheapest time of the year to go.
And Dale, you say maybe free parking for Kent County. How would you know who's a Kent County resident, who isn't at the museum, I guess? I'm not trying to get in the weeds. I just, how do you figure that stuff out with this?
So when people come now, we ask them their zip code. They don't have to give us that.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, some of it will be on the honor system.
Sure.
You know, frankly. But it will say, are you a member of Kent, are you a resident of Kent County, and you would qualify, you get the parking voucher on the way out.
Oh, okay.
That kind of a thing. So yeah, we would, that would be our plan. I agree with Peter, and we continue to do more conversations. So are they written in stone? Yes, no. You know, and it depends if but these are our plans going forward, that we would provide them these incentives with the idea here of, yes, value for the taxpayers, but what we have heard consistently, particularly from those who grew up in this town, is the accessibility of the museum back years ago when they were younger. And so part of this is to make sure that we are making the museum accessible as we possibly can to bring down barriers for people to come and use it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Carol, please.
Thank you, Chair Van Molen. I am surprised that we have this difference of opinion as far as its impact in the community, in the means that I believe Darrell and those who went to New York to see about our county bond rating, we are so blessed in this area in our homes. We can say that it's not affordable to buy a home nowadays. I have a grandson who listed a home, and 3 days later it sold. And they tell me this market is just so ripe for people wanting to move here that the housing prices and the inventory is low, and they're just selling. People want to go to a place to live where there are these cultural amenities available. And we look at the one big one that landed out in Emily Breevy's district. The guy liked the cultural impact of this area. And we, as a community, want to make sure we maintain and grow that. I was so excited about that I had the opportunity when Commissioner Steensma, the board chair then, her and I served on the committee to take this action of moving the zoo from the county into a non-governmental entity so that it could be freestanding with a committed amount of resources to do the things that they are commissioned to do and have been doing so well. And this is another step in that opportunity, not for people to say, I want to purchase more government with my taxes. I want to purchase this cultural entity that is West Michigan, and I want to vote. I want the opportunity to say, I support this, and I want to make sure that that's what I purchase. We are so blessed that when we walk into a grocery store in America, to see all the goods and all the choices that we have in what to buy. So it should be as well in the taxing opportunities that we would present to people. If they want to buy that cultural entity, then they can help to support it in that way. So I would hope that we could get 100% of support for this move to bring it to the people. Let the people make that decision, and we will bring it to the people and say, do you support this entity of cultural support? Then let them do that. And so I would just ask and encourage that you would support to bring this question to the people and let the people decide. Thank you.
Stan, please.
Just a point of clarification. There are two ways to get on the ballot. One, this process we're doing, and the other, residents of the county can petition to get it on the ballot. Is that correct?
That's not correct. There is no petition ability at the county. We've looked at that for another issue that, with a different hat I wear, that's not been allowed by statute or Michigan Constitution. Only way.
I was just going to ask, thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, that's a sore spot because, again, when can the citizens petition? And in fact, people actually want to reduce some of that right now at the state level. So it is always interesting when we allow people to speak and how we allow them to speak. But for a countywide millage, this is the only door.
Okay.
So, sorry for that.
Diane, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify, in our packet, in addition to the millage language, there is a letter that was sent to our chair, Jim Saalfeld, and on pages 3 and 4 of that letter, it very, in much detail, describes the description of purpose of the millage for the zoo and the museum. And my question is, when we're voting for this, is this a document then that becomes part of the public record for how the funds would be spent?
Go ahead, please.
The documents that you have are a public record in terms of what was presented to you in terms of providing access to the ballot. The language in what's submitted here is not necessarily binding in terms of what the proposal is. When you look at how the money would be spent, they're going to look at the ballot language itself in terms of the purposes for which the voters would approve it.
Which currently says to provide sustainable funding for operations and capital improvements. So I guess I would direct kind of out there, if we could have, if you don't mind coming up one more time. Are you familiar with the letter?
Yes.
So if I have an opportunity and people ask me questions about the millage, is it safe for me to refer to this description of purpose on what's listed for the zoo and what's listed for the museum on the details of those two pieces?
Yes, absolutely. And the focus groups and the polling have demonstrated that's what people want. Now, those are broad buckets. We want to make sure we're providing what the citizens want, and the citizens want new and upgraded exhibits and great care for the animals. So you have the capital improvements and you have the operations. So we're still meeting that. And why is this important? We want to be able to do this in order to keep driving the economic engine that is Kent County. I mean, the zoo and the museum bring 75. Yeah, we're waiting on the final study from Grand Valley, but it's at least $50 million in additional economic activity in the region. And that's an older study that was done, and an updated one will be ready in several weeks, which we expect to be even higher, just because our attendance is much higher. When the last study was done, Our attendance was about 100,000 people last year. Also, why do we want to upgrade exhibits? Well, the museum's 125 years old. 125 years of bringing memories and families together in Kent County, but it also means we need to update those exhibits. And if a business or an organization doesn't update their assets and improve their assets, they don't become relevant anymore. If they're not relevant, then people will stop going to the zoo. And we have too much going for us in Kent County for us to allow that to happen.
I think Diane, go ahead.
I had another follow-up on that. The other piece I wanted to clarify, because when this was initially being suggested, I had phone calls about, well, what if the Grand Rapids Art Museum wants to come? What if the Gerald R. Ford Museum wants to come? And I think the key to differentiate now is that the zoo is owned by Kent County, and the Grand Rapids Public Museum is owned by the city of Grand Rapids, correct? Which is different than other not-for-profit attractions in the Kent County area. So I just wanted to clarify that, because, you know, because I think that's an important distinction when people are looking at this and wondering, you know, why this is on for a potential millage. So I think the descriptions and the purposes are detailed and thorough, and I think it is a wise thing to let the voters decide if they want to go ahead and support these projects. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane, another, what I intend to suggest, and it's not doesn't have anything to do with the ballot proposal, is that both organizations come to us on a somewhat regular basis. I don't know what that means, and report back, say, you know, this is what we intended to do with all this money, and this is how we're doing it, so that we get a feeling, and there's some accountability, and so, well, that's not anything we're going to put in stone either, but we certainly strongly suggest, and I guess another one that I might suggest is that perhaps one of the commissioners could eventually get put on the museum board, so that there's other continuity there. But is there any other questions about the ballot proposal?
Maybe to that point, Dale, that has been brought up, and I think that is part of the understanding that the county will have representation on the museum board.
Oh. All right.
Yep.
Emily, please.
I think this is a good opportunity for us to support this. This ballot proposal was brought to us, by the community, like we've talked about, and both are great assets to our community and will definitely enhance further down the road. So I, feel comfortable bringing this issue to the voters, letting them decide, how they would like their money to be spent.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. And I'd like to say, you can put, well, I'm a lame duck here, but I'll be happy to support both the millage proposal, and you can put my name on your list. And it's worth exactly what you're paying for. Okay, let's go to item 4.
This is a request to recommend to the board to accept and appropriate $93,080 in funding from Network 180 to the 2016 Health Fund budget, and to authorize the board chair to execute the grant agreement and approve grant extensions and changes within 15% of the original award. The Health Department has received notice from Network 180 that funding of $93,080 is available to develop innovative strategies for enhancing recovery-oriented services that are consistent with the requirements of the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services strategic priorities. The grant will cover costs to create a user-friendly website and an accompanying marketing campaign that assists in the navigation of substance use treatment and recovery support services throughout West Michigan and prevent the development of new substance abuse disorders. The website will target individuals directly impacted by a substance abuse disorder, as well as medical and social service professionals that make substance abuse and recovery support referrals. A decision tree-based website will assist to identify appropriate services which will reduce harm caused by addiction with the goal of sustained recovery maintenance. The $93,000 in grant funds will be used to support contractual work to develop the website, a marketing campaign, a .08 full-time equivalent of existing health department staff, and indirect costs. The term of the grant is April 1, 2016 through September 30th, 2016.
Need a motion to support?
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Questions?
Just a specific one on the website development contract for 43.5. Having previously been in that business, that's pretty solid budget for a website. So my request would be to, at the end of the year, after this period has concluded, to just get the detailed analytics on the usage of that site. If we could have that at the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? David, please.
Yeah, I mean, based on that, I mean, the issue is if the 43.5 is to build the website, from my perspective, it's the content on the website that's going to make it valuable. So is it, you know, how much staff time and energy is related to building that out in the sense of what are those referral sources, funding that marries that so it's going to be interactive and guide people to services. This, it sounds like we're building a website and going to point people at it, but
yes,
that costs a lot.
Yes, there's a marketing campaign that goes along with this, and part of the dollars from this grant will be used to work with the Substance Use Disorder Community Health Improvement Plan Work Group. Part of the community health needs assessment that was conducted through Healthy Canton Health Department and many community partners earlier this year identified this as an area of need. So some of those contractual dollars, some of that is to go to build the website. Some of the dollars will also go to Recovery Allies of West Michigan and Red Project to work with the community health needs assessment substance use disorder work team, and they'll be creating decision trees, and the website will target both medical service providers, human service providers, and individuals seeking recovery and support services. So the website will be more decision trees to kind of guide people where they need to go. And some of the research that's been done already has shown that there's not a website in Kent County that includes all types of recovery support services. Most agencies offer specific things as symptom management or treatment. So this website will be more user-friendly in those terms to really guide users where to go.
Okay.
I mean,
sure.
I get that part of it. However, you know, having been part of such ventures with smaller trees, it's a huge staff effort to collect that data and keep that data and information up to date. Is that somewhere else in the project, in the budget? Okay. People are doing it in kind. You know, again, that to me is the heaviest lift.
Yes.
Is the content. It's great then to spend $30,000 to direct people to it and to spend $45,000 to build the website, but it's the content.
Yes, exactly. And the content with the Community Health Improvement Plan Substance Use Disorder Work Group, this group is, that plan is a 3-year plan, so part of that plan that they're developing is the sustainability of the website, is making sure that the content is up to date and has the most current information on there. There's also a sustainability plan between Recovery Allies of West Michigan and Red Project because they're nonprofit organizations, and they're able to throughout the next 2 years create a donor base that would help maintain the website and also the resources to keep the content up to date.
And I would add to that Network 180 also recognizes the need for a sustainability plan and that future prevention dollars they receive might be focused to that as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 5, please, Darrell.
Yes. This is a request to recommend to the board to approve the lease of approximately 175 acres of property in Caledonia Township to Van Kalker Farms for the annual production of crops until such time as the Parks Department is ready to incorporate this property into active parks use and authorize the execution of a lease. The county owns certain property in Alaska or Caledonia Township that was acquired for future park expansion and has leased the property for a number of years. Until park expansion is undertaken, it is desired that the property be maintained and appropriately utilized. The property historically has been farmed. Quotes were solicited from farmers interested in using the property for this purpose. Van Kalker Farms submitted a quote and is willing to pay the county $150 per acre annually to farm field crops, maintain the property using generally accepted agricultural practices, and indemnify the county from any liability arising from its use of the property. Rent will be due after crop harvest, but no later than December 31st of each year. A lease between Van Kalker Farms and the county has been drafted for 2016 and 2017. The lease also allows subsequent annual renewal upon mutual agreement. The lease will be executed by the county administrator or his designee on behalf of the county. The lease has been reviewed and approved as to form by Assistant Corporate Counsel.
So moved.
Support.
Support. Moved and supported. Question?
Thank you, Chair. Not so much a question, but just a comment. We always have the argument about how much farmland Kent County's got. I guess once this park is built, the bigger question will be is where is this farmer going to farm?
Any other questions? I don't know what the answer to that is, but I don't. I've just got one question / comment. I don't know what they're raising hay or alfalfa on that farm or corn or whatever it is, but are there some perhaps opportunities to take some of the stuff that's raised on our property, swing it over to the zoo? They may need the hay or they may need whatever, and make a everybody wins deal. I don't know. That's just a comment that's probably like Stan. There's not an answer to it, but maybe there is. Could we at least think about that sometime in the future? I don't know. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is miscellaneous. Is there any miscellaneous? Diane, please.
Thank you, Chair. After this meeting, the MPP is going to, the subcommittee is going to meet in room 311, not room 3A. So I just wanted to clarify that, and we will do that immediately following the adjournment of the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone? We're adjourned.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Ami, Kent County. Somos Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.